Asking a high school student to write an autobiography would be a lot like asking former President Donald Trump to write a memoir about his political career. In that, it would be short and not very meaningful. And unfortunately, for those behind the Nikki Haley presidential campaign, the same can probably be said for her presidential hopes in 2024. Because despite the fact that she announced her run for president just last week, she's already been met by tidal waves of naysayers and those who just think she doesn't have a shot in the world. But as explained, in an article posted by the BBC on February 17th of 2023, Nikki Haley has never lost a run for any sort of political office. And because of this, her skills that seem to exist when running for any kind of office, and many of her previous accolades, like being the former governor of South Carolina and a former UN ambassador from the United States, many are wondering if maybe she'll be able to overcome these naysayers and actually have a chance in 2024. And because it's for the future of the campaign of Nikki Haley and the outlook of the 2024 presidential elections that we need to ask ourselves today's question of, does Nikki Haley have a realistic shot of winning the 2024 presidential nomination? The answer to which is a resolute no, for three key reasons. First, because of her recent polling. Second, because of her back and forth politics. And third and finally, because of the people who are going to come out and run against her. But first, it's important that we take a look at recent polling and understand why this alone is a reason why Nikki Haley has absolutely no shot. Take a look at recent polling done in early February by the Remington Research Center, which found that among the 3 or 4 top candidates in the 2024 elections for Republican candidates, Nikki Haley was just 8% of the vote. And while you might be saying, hey, Emily, this is really early, she could still do a lot to turn it around in the next couple of months and years. The problem is that because she's gaining no traction now, she won't be able to gain the resources she needs to do better in the future. And this is further explained in an article posted by the Brookings Institution on February 18th of 2023 when it goes on to state that Nikki Haley currently has no political office. She has no war chest, no money behind her, no people working for her in order to further her campaign in any significant way. And the way that you gain this is by having positive signs behind your campaign, making people want to give you money and give you their support, whether it's in terms of labor, so on and so forth. And because all of the signs seem to be against Nikki Haley, whether it's her polling, her current lack of any administration, and all of the people who think she doesn't have a shot, it's going to be very difficult for her to gain any sort of traction financially and in terms of people behind her campaign, starting now. Her problems now are going to stick with her in the next couple of years, which is why current polling and its implications for the future of her campaign are going to have a significant impact on her shot, or rather lack thereof, in 2024. But next, let's take a look at her very inconsistent back and forth politics in a variety of measures. Because as explained in an article posted by Politico on January 17th of 2023, what a lot of us look for in a political candidate is consistency. You want to know that when you vote for somebody one year, you're going to be getting a similar sort of political philosophy out of them 1, 2, 3 years down the line. And for Nikki Haley, you get absolutely none of this. Because that same Political article goes on to state that Nikki Haley has gone back and forth on a lot of issues, the most notable being Donald Trump. Back in 2016, before he won the bid for president, she was a huge advocate against him. She pointed out numerous reasons and many articles and interviews of why he was unfit to be president. But the second he won that bid, she jumped right on the Donald Trump train. And once again, following that bid and following his failure to win in 2020, she jumped right back off when it benefited her. And this inconsistency fundamentally showed her lack of ability to stick with the policy and angered a heck of a lot of the voters who she had hoped to win in 2024. Trump advocates are upset that she's now against them and was before, and anti-Trump supporters are kind of upset that she stayed with him for so very long, especially through January 6th, where she still, and I quote from a Trump advisor, let her MAGA flag shine. And it's because of this inconsistency that we're seeing a lot of people being very, very hesitant to vote for Nikki Haley or to put any support behind her, because you don't know that the Nikki Haley you're voting for today is the same one that you're going to get in 6 months, which is why it's so difficult to say she has any realistic shot in 2024, because you don't know what you're getting. But now, let's take a look at the third and final reason why Nikki Haley really just doesn't have a shot, because of the people who are going to run against her. Now, that's not just saying Donald Trump, because frankly, Donald Trump and 3-4 other people have a better shot than Nikki Haley. Take a look at those same polls that I cited before. If you include people like Greg Abbott into them, you get Donald Trump ranking 38% of the vote, people like Ron DeSantis at 35%, Greg Abbott about 15%, and Nikki Haley following down to below 4% of the vote. And it's because of these people that she doesn't have a chance, because they have something that she doesn't. Star power, name recognition, all of the things that make current GOP candidates so successful. They're known for something specific. Whether it's Ron DeSantis's Don't Say Gay bills, Greg Abbott's, all of his issues regarding abortion legislation in Texas, whether or not you agree with these policies, the GOP recognizes them. These people are notable, recognizable, and they gain significant portion of the vote because they have these policies behind them. Nikki Haley, however, has no current political office. Most of her political history has surrounded international politics, and she has very little domestic policy to draw from, which is why these other, more notable candidates that are running against her have a much better shot. So let's look back at my question today of, does Nikki Haley have a reasonable chance of getting the 2024 presidential nomination? And the answer is an absolute no, for 3 key reasons. First, because of recent polling. Second, because of her back and forth politics. And third and finally, because of the people who will come out and run against her. So while we'd all love to get on the Nikki train, especially us feminists, unfortunately, she really will not have a bright future ahead of her.